Hello, it's Thanos, and we are going to recreate a patch from another YouTube channel. And I'm gonna write the name of the channel here on the screen because I cannot pronounce it. And we are going to try to implement this patch in a 3U search system. And because the original one is in the 4U original banana system, and with some differences because we have to adapt to this different format. And the main differences is that the wave multipliers here have a fold function, which I believe I don't have the 4U system, but I believe that it doesn't exist. So you need to add some modulation in order to do that. Here it's not necessary. You can just do the feedback with the fold. In this patch, the main players are the wave multipliers, the slope generator, and the smooth generator. And we are going to hear, in my variation of the patch, we're going to hear the output from the VCFQ filter and an output from the resonant equalizer, a different type of sound I will get from a different source, just to get a little bit more a rich sound, because my goal is always to have a musical result. And so I'm using this feedback patch as a tool, an instrument. Let's see. So I have my notes, and I will go through them. You have them here. So this patch is mainly a feedback patch, creating a feedback patch with the wave multipliers. So I'm taking the output of the middle one and put it in the input of the first one, the lower one. And the output of the first one will go into the input of the middle one. That's how I call them: low, middle, high. I don't know if there's a better way to write it down in a much faster way. So now another thing is that this output from the middle one will be the main output, let's say. So I'm just gonna send this to a lot of sources. VCFQ first. So in the input of the filter. And there it is. We already have sound. Yes, I forgot to tell you. That's much better. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. I have a delay, a stereo delay in the aux of the mixer. So again, my goal is to have a musical result, and usually I use a reverb, but in this case, I'm just using a stereo delay. Anyway, this is our first sounds. I will try to keep this in a balance so you can still hear my voice and the sounds, but I might create something extremely hard with this feedback patches. You always need to be aware, and of course I can fix this in post-production in my computer, but let's see how it goes first. So I'll put this volumes lower. Yes. Another one, a very important thing about this patch is that I need to send the outputs of the wave multiplier also into the input of the slope generator, because we want to create an envelope following the sounds that are coming out from the feedback patch here. And this is important. The rise needs to be completely clockwise and the fall somewhere in the middle, and it should be cycling. And another thing, and that's my addition, is to send this to the input of the NCOM module. And I'm just implementing an extra module here, again, to create more variation. And next, the outputs of the slope generator, which is kind of following the feedback patch, will go into the smooth generator. output, input, smooth generator. I don't know if you can see the lights a little bit blinking because my sound is not extremely loud yet. Yes, here we have a much more active signal. And then I will take the coupler out from the smooth generator and I will send it into the input of the right slope generator here. We want to process the sounds through the smooth generator and we want to send it to another slope generator. And the second slope generator is very important in the patch because it's going to create rhythms, and we can manipulate the rhythms with the rise and the fall from the slope generator, which in the beginning I have it on cycling on, but this is also something you can play with the cycle on and off. Next, the output of the right side, the right slope generator, needs to go in the inputs back in the wave multiplier, and that's how we create the cybernetic nature of this patch, is that we kind of interfere with our main feedback patch here, and I'm gonna send it into the second input of the low section here. And also the BP out from here, it's gonna go input the second input of the middle section here. And in this way we have, you hear now, if I make a sound a little bit more, yeah, so you see it's following the rhythm from this envelope generator. You hear it, it's making loops. And my goal with this patch was to escape these loops, and of course if you turn the cycle off, you're gonna stop these loops, but then you need to manipulate the patch in order to continue having sounds being created. Anyway, let's keep it on for now and we'll continue with this patch. It's already much louder than it was. I'm turning the volumes like extremely low now. What else? Smooth out. Yes, we can send this back into the filter actually. So the smooth out, I'm sending it to manipulate. Oh, there it is. Yes. That's very important because I'm having the filter somewhere in the middle, the frequency, but the attenuation is on the right side, and it's going to create more high frequencies this way. Turn the volumes even lower. And again, the same output will be going into the other inputs here in the encom. And what's going to happen is I'm gonna send the CMP out into the resonant EQ, and that's my second source. And now we hear it. So it's quite different, and it adds to the audio material that you have. Let's see, I have 2 more cables, which is crazy because I still have a few notes to go. I don't know if I missed something. Anyway, so the other output here, I'm sending it. Oh yeah, I can do a few things more, like this output here, but actually I've been needing to send the step out. Yeah, I think step output is more interesting to send into the fold section here. the note output from the filter will go into the other section here. To modulate the other fold. Dramatic changes when you're just playing with the fold sections here, fold knobs here. Oh yeah, that's it. Actually, I'm done. Yeah, there's the low output from the filter goes into the mixer. The normal output from the resonant EQ goes to the mixer. I have all the frequencies here in the middle, 12 o'clock. The feedback also 12 o'clock. And of course I can play with the resonant Q, and that's why I'm sending the signal in here. That's also very interesting to manipulate the audio material with the resonant Q. And yes, the delay, that's it. So this is the patch. The playability is incredible here. I mean, you can play with fold, obviously, from this too, that like I mentioned. The rate from the smooth generator, it's also very important. And if I have the rise and the fall here quite low, I create longer chains of feedback, let's call them chains, loops. And then in that way I have more variation actually. And as you can see, it still follows the rhythm from the slop generator, from the cycle on. If I turn it off, it does the last round and then it stops. Then I have to kind of re-trigger the feedback with the folds, and I get a very different result again. The rate needs to be high. If I turn the rise up. So, and it's also important to have in patch this kind of stop moments that you can perform like with a little silence in between, and then every time after the silence that you can just do some dramatic movement, turning a knob dramatically up or down to create a completely different sound than before the silence. That's my performance advice from 20 years of experience. Anyway, this is also the filter here. It's quite relevant because, of course, we're hearing the filter. So let me go back to the cycle. Let's turn the rate up and the fold. So, of course, with the frequency, but the Q, I can increase the Q. Yes. That way I can create a lower frequencies like inside this. Very interesting. Be careful with the Q, the resonance, that it doesn't get too overwhelming. It can create some very piercing sounds. And still here you can incredible, the resonance equalizer, everybody knows that, obviously. Every frequency you push, it will give you more tension. It's great. Anyway, so that's it. Let me see if I can stop this now. That's a beautiful ending. So this is it. I have recorded a performance with this patch, although it's very different every time. Yeah, this one was again very different. Of course, I patched from scratch, but I have to say it's quite reliable. I mean, for a feedback patch, I kind of remember a little bit that the sounds are not too far off from the last session that I did, and that means that it's a very well thought patch. And my main goal with this one was to be able to perform it, so to just turn knobs and create variations and interesting structures. But I have to say it was a little bit of a challenge to break out of this rhythm here from this second slope generator, and it will be interesting to continue this and make it a little bit more complex in order to break free from this slope generator, that I can send some signals inside the trigger in, or the 1 voltage per octave, or the rise and the fall, in order to create a more complex patch that kind of creates the variations by itself. So in that way, it's cybernetic in that form that it kind of governs itself and it's more alive. And I don't have to perform it. I'm just turning the recording on and off. And maybe as an artist, I will choose the best parts and make a collage. That's possible too. But I personally prefer live performances and just being in the moment and improvising with instruments. So this is a challenge. If you have any tips for this patch, more than welcome. And of course, there is this discussion about cybernetics on forums. I will have links in the description about the original patch where you can find it. And maybe also the discussion in 2 different forums about cybernetics, and that you can find very interesting material in there to read about the theory of cybernetics, and also people who are applying it to music like I do. But I'm a performer, I'm a composer, so I do not deal with the theory so much. It's very fascinating to me, and I read a lot about it, but eventually for me it comes to music, it comes to performing with music, sorry. So I hope this is educative, or at least inspiring, and maybe more people would like to do that. And thank you, of course, to the YouTube channel that I cannot pronounce for inspiring this patch. So yeah, I'll leave you now, and I will see you in the next one.